Alright, the complaining is finally over. I'm going back to being a pro Tesla YouTuber again because of some leaked software updates that are yet to come, and sadly I'm gonna have to wait longer for because I have full self-driving for the next few months, which means I don't get the latest software updates. Yay! We're positive now! But first off, I'm a huge fan of YouTube Music, mainly because I listen to a bunch of stuff that is not on Apple Music or Spotify. I like covers, I like remixes, and a lot of that stuff you cannot find elsewhere. Plus, I'm a YouTube Premium member because I watch more YouTube than anything else, so I love having less ads when I watch YouTube. I love the downloads functionality. I also like knowing that the membership costs go to the creators I watch and enjoy, and YouTube Music is included with YouTube Premium, but again, it was never baked into the Tesla OS itself, but it sounds like they're finally adding it, so the likelihood of me wanting to get premium connectivity just went up a bit, because now I'll be able to stream all of my favorite remixes and covers directly from the car instead of casting it from my phone, which is pretty great. But they didn't stop there. Tesla's also adding Amazon Music as well for all of you Prime members out there who don't feel like paying for an additional Spotify or Apple Music membership. I haven't used Amazon Music in a long time, but it probably does the exact same thing. They're all so similar, right? But there's other welcome changes as well. Like, in my opinion, a great idea is parental controls, which is part of this 2024.26 update. This allows you to set a pin in the car for if your child, or I guess teenage driver, wants to take the vehicle. You can set a speed limit, adjust some of the forward collision warning settings, as well as setting curfew hours, which don't necessarily lock the vehicle during certain times of the day, but it does configure it to send a push notification to the parent if the kid tries to drive it past their curfew. So the parent's gonna know about it, but yeah, the car won't technically lock them out. I guess that makes sense in case there's an emergency or something. But there's also a change I've been really looking forward to for a long time, which is adding the ability to subdirect after you arrive to your destination. So this is a navigation feature, but oftentimes you show up to something like an airport or a mall, but there's subdivisions at that destination. Now they're baking in the map data to route you specifically to whatever terminal you need to get to, or whatever section of the destination you arrive at. So this has been a thing on typical Google Maps and Apple Maps applications for a long time. Probably part of the reason a lot of people have asked for CarPlay and Android Auto, but now Tesla, because of their amazing software team, is able to catch up and do their best to try to make the in-car experience so good that you don't find yourself looking for CarPlay and Android Auto. Another one that's actually been in Tesla's vehicles in China for quite some time, but it's finally coming to the US market, is the weather forecast. So not only will it just give you the temperature, you're also gonna get a rundown on the weather conditions, if it's rainy or foggy or extremely hot. And I'm hoping, this isn't mentioned in the release notes, but I'm really hoping that because they're putting in more weather conditions baked into the car itself, it will actually have more accurate range estimation when the temperatures start to go extremely high. I read a lot of your guys' comments on my last video about road tripping in the extreme heat, and I've heard many of you experience a lot of the same range loss that I did. And just as a reminder, the vehicle's efficiency as the outside temperature exceeds 100 degrees, the effect is exponential, not linear, okay? So driving at 110 degrees Fahrenheit is not just 10% worse than driving at 100. As the temperature continues to climb, the performance degradation becomes extremely more noticeable. So 120 degrees is going to be much, much worse than 100. I saw a lot of people commenting that, oh, well, I didn't notice much range loss and it was 100 where I live, even though while that sounds close to 110, for the vehicle HVAC system, it's a huge difference. So I'm glad that they're adding in air quality settings as well to let you know when you're in a place where you shouldn't be outside for very long, but I'm also hoping that the navigation can take in more consideration when it comes to the weather conditions, particularly in the extreme heat. The next one gets me somewhat excited, but I'm a little bit confused by the wording, and it comes down to scheduling, charging, and preconditioning, which is close to the right direction that I've been asking Tesla to go to for a while, which is, please, just like other EVs have been offering for years, Tesla, just have a manual precondition for fast charging option. Right now, the only way really without using third-party accessories and having to buy special buttons that rig into the inside workings of your car, there's really no way to precondition the battery for fast charging unless you are in the car and you select a supercharger in the navigation settings and put the car in drive. There's been so many situations where we're driving to a friend's house or a family dinner and we're not able to supercharge the car before before we arrive at our destination, but we have no problem supercharging afterwards, and oftentimes our friend or family member's house is very close to the supercharger. So it sits there while we're eating dinner and having a good time for several hours, and the battery's not preconditioning for fast charging. So as soon as we get in the car, we route to the supercharger, and we get there and we don't get adequate charging speeds because it says, oh, you didn't route to the supercharger. And it's like, yeah, we did. It's just we only had 4 minutes to get there. So if there was a way from my phone, I could know like, okay, we're probably gonna head out in the next 20 minutes. Let me precondition the battery for fast charging so that when we do leave, we can take the car straight there and get our full speed. I'm not getting a visualization yet on exactly how this new schedule charge and schedule preconditioning is going to work, but I'm hoping it works somewhat like that. But for the record, these are release notes that were caught by Tessie, who's been accurate in the past. They're not making this stuff up. It is a real software release, but no one, at least publicly, has installed this latest YouTube Music update with their personally owned vehicle, which is why we're not seeing any hands-on impressions with the new software update, and you're probably not going to get one from me first because I have full self-driving, which means I'm on an older branch than the rest of the Teslas that don't have FSD. They get all the new features first. I still think that's kind of backwards. Why can't FSD users also get the latest software update? I don't know, but hopefully this addresses my complaints about having a manual battery precondition option, particularly from the mobile app. That would be extremely helpful and useful. They've also apparently redesigned the climate control panel in this update. Again, no pictures on what it looks like, but it's listed in the release notes from Tesla, and they claim that this redesigned climate control panel lets you adjust settings with much more ease. So I assume it's much more intuitive than before, but I can't wait to see how it works and how it functions, because that's been a huge complaint I've seen with a lot of Tesla owners or people who are hesitant to buy Teslas, is they don't like how many taps they have to go through just to adjust their fan settings or their climate control. So I'm glad to see that they're paying more attention to that, and apparently they've redesigned it to make it more convenient. Can't wait to see how. And also some little other quality of life changes. Like they said, Zoom calls are full screen automatically when you're in park. Also, the fan speed of the climate control will automatically lower if you answer a phone call. That just makes sense. I'm glad they're adding that. And if you want to, I don't think anybody's gonna do this, but you can add a USB microphone now to the car if you want to use a different mic for, I don't know, karaoke or maybe Zoom calls. You can use an external microphone to make it sound better rather than the onboard mic in the car, which is not that great sounding. But yeah, overall, I still think the software is absolutely the best part of the Tesla experience. The cars themselves don't necessarily age all that great. The battery pack and powertrain stuff is fine. It's more about the interior build quality and the paint and stuff that's known for not aging all that gracefully. But the real thing that you get with Tesla that you cannot find with any other automaker is as rapid and as smart software improvements throughout the year. Like, I have so much more functionality in my car and so many UI changes that are great and welcomed that weren't there when I first took delivery of the car, and it honestly motivates me to keep the car as long as I possibly can, because every time I get one of these updates, it somewhat feels like I got a whole new car experience. But that's probably a bit of an exaggeration, but hey, I was asking for YouTube Music for years, and it sounds like we're finally getting it, so maybe that would be the good time to sign up for premium connectivity. But what do you guys think of all these changes? What software do you think Tesla's not paying enough attention to? What other things would you like to see in the future? Keep asking, because I keep asking for stuff, and it feels like it only takes a month or two, and then I read about it in the news like, oh yeah, they are actually adding that due to popular demand. All your thoughts, drop them in the comments down below, and thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.